Well, I'm kind of not sure what this last week was in terms of my rotation. It was a mixed bag. I wore, I enjoyed wearing all the perfumes that I wore last week. But, sometimes when I approach filming these videos for the weekly rotation, I try and figure out if there's a theme over the last week. And honestly, that's what I mean by a mixed bag. Honestly, this last 7 days has kind of just been, no theme, but I wore some really nice perfumes. And I'll just start talking about the perfume that I wore for the whole week, which is one of my all-time favorites, Equipage Geranium from Hermes. So even before I had decided that this would be my 7-day perfume, I just knew what I was going to get, and I wasn't disappointed because every day that I sprayed this on, and what I did do with this one was this is my every day I wore this as my second perfume. So I wore other ones in the morning, and then at some point in the afternoon or even in the early evening, I would spray this on, and it was like my whole day reset. This kind of resets your nose when you put it on. It is just that kind of perfume. I'm never disappointed. I always marvel at how good it is. And it also made me a little bit sad that if it's true that it's been discontinued, that, I have quite a bit of it left, and that will take me probably years to empty. But I'm sad that nobody else is going to get to experience this. Because it's that good. Equipage Geranium was my weekly perfume. And then, look, in no random order, I will focus a bit on the ingredients or the particular notes or accords for each perfume, because I feel like I wore something quite different for each day. I also wore one that I haven't worn since probably close to the beginning of the year, and that is Barry Lyndon by Maria Candida Gentile. And what is the main note or accord that I get from this? The highlight of this perfume for me is these very sort of, I want to say sweet florals. Now, if you go and look at the listed notes for this, one of the listed notes is heather, and I am not familiar with heather. I don't really know what it's supposed to be similar to. There are aspects of lavender note going through this, even though it's not listed. There probably is some kind of lavender material in here. But what I get reminded of constantly every time I spray this on is the note of honeysuckle, and whether it's in here or not in some form, or there's a created accord similar to it, it really reminds me of years and years ago when I basically had some kind of shower gel, which I have no recollection of what it was called or anything like that, and it was supposed to be based on honeysuckle. So it was probably not anywhere near natural honeysuckle smell, but I really, really liked the smell of it. And this is what one of the ingredients in here reminds me of that. It's a very lovely, peaceful, kind of laid back perfume. And then towards the end of the dry down, you get this kind of really, really soft leather, like, I don't know, like someone's left their leather bag in a field full of wildflowers. Then my recently crowned favorite perfume of the last 6 months, Grimoire from Anatole Le Breton. So the feature note in this for me is definitely the cumin, but I don't want to put people off who don't like cumin. It's definitely there. I think the genius of this perfume is the way it's melded into the incense, and then also into whatever is providing the sweetness. I can't recall if it's, I feel like there's a benzoin in there that gives it this sweetness. So it's the smell of sweet cumin with a bit of incense, and there's some, traces of citrus going on as well. It's really, really unusual and beautiful. And speaking of incense, one of my now very favorite perfumes. And if you're an incense lover, you need to smell this. That's all I'm going to say. Gilded by Boujee Bougies. When we come to the note of honey and tobacco, but in my case, this one more about the honey than the tobacco. Fume de Turc by Serge Lutens. I really, I only have this and maybe Absolu pour le soir with dominant honey notes. So it's not something that I, chase in terms of collecting perfumes and fragrances, but this one, along with the tobacco, this gives it that sweet tobacco, and it's like a very, I guess, nostalgic and very kind of realistic accord that it's created for me. It doesn't mean that I've experienced a smokehouse in Turkey, but there is certainly, I grew up in an area here, there's certainly a lot of hookah bars where people go and have a coffee and smoke hookahs here, and that it kind of does remind me of that smell when you walk past on the street. And this particular fragrance is one. This week in particular, I really noticed the patchouli note in Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. It is, I think, the reason I struggle identifying what I'm smelling in this perfume, even though I've had it for so long and I've loved it for so long, is that none of the elements that make up this perfume really stand out as themselves. It's kind of all like once they're mixed and blended in together, they lose their identity. And I guess the identity is what comes out as this fragrance. So to me, that's what I don't necessarily want to say that that's really good blending, but I love when a perfume is blended in such a way that single ingredients or notes or accords are not clearly discernible. I mean, an advanced nose would smell this and say, oh, yeah, it's clearly got this or that. I'm not that person. But this week when I wore this, the patchouli just stood out. But it's such a refined patchouli. There's nothing wild about it. And I think it's what gives it its Prada-ness, if I need to call it anything. Amber Pour Homme Intense. And I also got to wear, make sure I do wear this regularly, my bespoke perfume made by Marie at Miskeo. This one we called Ponte Vecchio. And look, again, this is another one where I have deliberately not asked for a note, ingredients, pyramid or whatever. I just wanted to enjoy the creation itself. And what I think I do smell here is there is definitely what I think is orange blossom. There's definitely an incense in here, and there is also a mineralic quality to this that kind of reminds me of the DNA of Terre d'Hermès, but this is a whole different other thing, and I absolutely love it. So that's my bespoke perfume. And the final one that I'm going to wear for this week, I was thinking of my most meaningful relationships, and I decided to wear it. From Filigree and Shadow, I am going to spray this on. It's Mother's Day here, so to anyone celebrating Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.